All right, good morning, everybody. We're going to continue our availabilities this morning with our annual OEM press conference. But before we meet everybody up here, wanted to just hit on some numbers from last year. 2023 was an outstanding season from a competition perspective. All three OEMs represented in the championship four. 8 drivers from 4 different organizations led the Cup Series point standings at some point throughout the season. And there were 15 different winners, which tied for 5th most in the modern era. So with that, going to introduce our guests. Mark Rushbrook, Global Director, Ford Performance Motorsports. Jim Campbell, General Motors U.S. Vice President of Performance and Motorsports. And Paul Doleshal, Group Manager, Motorsports, Toyota Motor North America. So before we open up for questions, quick question for all of you off the top. How do you evaluate your 2023 and what were your main goals this offseason leading into 24? Mark, start with you.
Yeah, for us, 2023 was definitely a mixed season. Ended on the right note. We had periods of strength through the season and periods of concern just not getting to. Thank you. No problem. So yeah, for 2023, right there, and what we see in NASCAR every season, there are ebbs and flows of performance, whether it's by manufacturer or by team or by driver, and we certainly experienced that ourselves across all 3 series. But what really matters is coming together in the playoffs with the strength of the OEMs, using our tools, our teams, and their people, and ultimately getting it done. So it was great for the sport, I think, to have fairly equal representation in the playoffs, but to have 4 drivers win the 3 National Series championships was a tremendous way to end 2023. But this is racing, and you can't rest on those laurels, and certainly a lot of hard work through the off season for us getting to grips with our new body, the new Mustang Dark Horse in Cup. And really happy to see that debuting here, but that takes a lot of relearning for the team to optimize the body and set up on the car around that. So that was the main focus, and looking forward to seeing how things play out here this weekend and the first part of the season.
Jim?
Yep. Well, it's coming from Michigan. It's great to be in Daytona. We look forward to this weekend in a big way. And looking back in 23, it was a good season, but obviously, there's certainly more goals that we need to accomplish here in 24. Won 50% of the Cup races, and across the 3 series, Cup, Xfinity, and Truck, had over 50% of the wins. Had the Manufacturers Championship, but got to the final race in Phoenix, but didn't bring home a championship. So obviously, the goal this year is to have good momentum this year and qualify, the Chevrolet teams into the playoffs and get to Phoenix and go for a different outcome, meaning, manufacturer and drivers' championship is always the goal. They always go hand in hand. Excited about this year, and starting here in Daytona, we've had crossed all the National Series 99 wins. So the next win here will be 100. It'll be a special one. All the teams are trying to get that 100th win for Chevrolet, and obviously a win for themselves in either Truck, Xfinity, or Cup. So looking forward to the season, and it's great to be here.
For Toyota, it's similar, and by the way, I'm not David Wilson, so, but he wishes he could be here, but it was down with sickness, so probably good with the weather that's coming anyway. But 2023, obviously, we had a lot of highlights, 600 wins in NASCAR. We had 10 wins in Cup, 16 poles. We had some good speed. You make it to the Final 4. We thought we had a good car with a good Camry with Christopher Bell. Everything going as we all hope, and then it just doesn't. So that's racing, and we will continue to push on and move into 2024. We had a lot of great success in other series that we compete. So you tend to dwell on the things you don't have instead of the things you do have. So we're trying to be positive about all of the great things that did accomplish in 2023. Preparing for 2024, obviously, with the new Camry XSE body, that was a pretty heavy lift, just getting parts changed and trying to get here with TRD working very tirelessly with CalT Designs on the design of the body and getting it into production and getting all of them hung on our now growing team base. That was the other part. Obviously, getting legacy. We try to be very conscious of other OEs and their relationships and up through the end of the season, and then that causes a mad rush with the very short off season we have to get things switched over and try to learn new things and learn new people. So overall, it was a success. Coming in here hoping for some good results as we start the year. We know we have a lot to learn still with the car and with new teams and all those elements, but we'll continue to work hard and do the best we can.
Appreciate it, gentlemen. We're going to go ahead and open it up to questions from the media. Please state your name and affiliation. We'll start up here with Jerry.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net. On your production side and your development side, and it's more for you, Mark, than the other two, but would love you guys to weigh in. Chevy just partnered with Honda on a $85 million hydrogen, division. Toyota has history in the racing with hydrogen. What's forward with you guys cutting your EV programs? What are you guys looking at in that department, and what is your R&D going forward with alternative fuels in racing and production?
Yeah, hydrogen honestly has not been a priority for us. We have been focused on EVs. We are refocusing more on hybrids, especially during this period of transition, specifically in motorsports. We believe we've got a really good balanced portfolio right now in terms of what we can do with ICE and what we can do with EVs or hybrid. And we extend that with our EV demonstrators because that really gives us the opportunity to not be constrained by racing regulations or rules. It's a free rolling laboratory that we can learn whatever we want and go tell whatever spectacle we want. So that will continue to be a focus for us for full EVs, and then hybrids is a good opportunity for us where we've got some series where that's in play. But the majority is still ICE, and that's where the spectacle is. And our commitment, especially as we're back in sports car racing in the big time now with our GT3 program, both as a factory and as a customer racing program, that is a big focus for us. We continue to be committed to ICE with the Mustang program that we have on the road and what we're able to do with that on the racetrack as well.
Yep, I'd just say GM on the propulsion side, you really have to prepare for all lanes. Internal combustion, we do have a long-time development program in hydrogen fuel cells, and we are partnering with Honda on that. Obviously, you've got around the world in our portfolio, we do have hybrids and PHEVs. So you have to be ready for all the propulsion combinations for the production side of the business, depending on what the consumers want and also the compliance in each one of those countries you compete in, and we compete all over the world. So we do have to develop. We're developing all those, and so hydrogen. We've been at a development program for probably a decade and a half, and have a good partnership with Honda on that one. So we'll see where that goes in terms of in-market applications in the showroom, and then what that could mean down the road for other performance applications.
From our side, obviously, we've been very clear on a portfolio approach to carbon reduction, whether it be just efficiency within ICE or hybrid, plug-in hybrids, fuel cells. Now with hydrogen potentially as a fuel to burn in a combustion engine and a normal ICE engine. We have a growing EV line that will be coming in. The first one was BZ4X. We have a significant amount of full BEV vehicles that are coming over the next couple of years. So we still stand by that. We will continue to develop out. I think we have always been trying to encourage the infrastructure for hydrogen to grow. Mirai we sell in California right now, limited basis, obviously because it's an infrastructure issue right at this point. But it's a capable platform, and if expansion and that infrastructure comes, then we feel we're in a good position to take advantage of that. But really, it's about, at the end of the day, it's carbon reduction, and there's a lot of options that we're all working on to help do that.
Come up here to Deb.
Deb Williams, Auto Week. In regards to the new cars this year, Mark, Ford swept the front row in qualifying. Toyota swept the duels. What did you see in the duels last night that made you smile about your car's performance, and what concerns you for Mark and Paul?
Yeah, I know you're asking about the duels. I will talk quickly about qualifying as well. We normally don't place a lot of emphasis on qualifying here because what matters at the end of the day is how the cars race. But it still was nice to get that front row, especially for Roger Penske to get a pole here. That was on his list of accomplishments that he wanted to add to, and really happy to see front row up there next to Penske. We were really curious to see how things were going to play out in the duels because that's our first opportunity with the new car in traffic. We didn't have the numbers in the first race with only 4 or 5 Mustangs in there. Certainly had the numbers in the second race, and we've got a lot of feedback and comments from the drivers and some things that can be worked on with the setup to optimize that. But at this point, we're still very happy with the new car and looking forward to see how things play out through the weekend.
I think the Camry XSE, obviously it's tough, and these guys know that when you develop a body and you're just looking at CFD and some wind tunnel data and you have no idea what's really going to happen when you get in traffic in a track. But I think we're a little bit disturbed, probably a strong word, but just surprised about the lack of qualifying speed, but then felt that the car would race well, and that proved out. So we're encouraged with that. I think it's just figuring out where the car wants to sit and kind of working on some of the things from a setup perspective, which the teams and TRD will be actively pursuing and already have been. So I don't think we have a lot of worries. We know there's a learning curve with any time you change a body or a major component like that, especially from an aerodynamic standpoint. So we'll just keep digging on it, but we should be fine, I think, as we work through. The drivers seem to have good feedback on the car, how it was in traffic and performed on the super speedway, so we're encouraged.
All right, we'll go to Lewis and then Bob.
Louis Frank of Reuters. Good morning, Mark. This half competition, half marketing. The dark horse on the grill. Have you had any feedback from the general public? And is this more a questioning tool, or how did you arrive at this?
So when we took the decision 2.5 years ago or so that we were going to do a new Mustang body for Cup, we looked at what the lineup was, knowing what the new road cars would have with a Mustang EcoBoost, a Mustang GT, and the Mustang Dark Horse. And similar to what we've done in the past, we went to the high end of the line, right? So our previous car was a Mustang GT 500. This car is a Mustang Dark Horse, and that was an important decision for the company to commit as a road car to have Dark Horse as a new performance model. And that's working very well for us. And we also were very happy with the shape and character that we've been able to put into the car. And when you look at the Mustang Dark Horse as a road car, it is a dark horse. It has a very dark grille. So we actually spent a lot of time looking at that for the race car and how dark did we really want to make it. And it's pretty dark, like the road car. And yes, we've had feedback on it and something that we will continue to look at. When we did our last new Mustang, we had the same thing coming to Daytona. We felt the pony was too dark then, and we lightened it up, and we're continuing to listen to feedback, and we'll make decisions based upon that.
All right, we'll go to Bob and Steve here in the middle, then back to Jenna.
Bob Hockers, Fox Sports. Jim, do you know yet whether you'll replace the Camaro for next year since it's going out of production? And if so, what's your timeline to decide on a new body style?
Yeah, not making any announcements today. We did say that well, Camaro is we're ending production. We're selling Camaros all through this year, and actually some will probably remain in next year as well. And as Scott Bell, who heads up our Chevrolet division, said, it's not the end of the Camaro story. So more to come, but nothing to announce today.
Steve Schweitzer with Alaska Press. This question's primarily for Mark, but the other two can weigh in if they have a personal experience. Last night we saw 2 Fords beat on each other coming to the checkered flag. Certainly we understand that when it comes to winning a race, it's every man for himself. Harrison was in here just prior to you guys and said that he had talked with Austin Cindric for about 45 minutes after the race last night, and they'd worked things out. I was just curious, have you ever had a situation where you've been asked to step in and talk with a couple drivers or a couple of teams under the Blue Oval logo?
Of course, I think we all have. It is important for us that, especially as a family company, that we have our teams work together as a family and drivers working together. But we will always reinforce them that we recognize and understand the priority that they are racing for themselves, they are racing for their team owner, but they are racing for Ford Motor Company. So on the last lap, we always tell them, go for the win. That's fine, but you better win. If you're going to hurt another Ford, and don't let a Toyota or a Chevy win. And that is important for us. So of course these situations will happen. It's racing. Things are happening at 200 miles an hour, and they've got to make decisions very quickly. And they can't go through all of their priorities because there's more than just the three that I listed. So we understand these situations will happen, and we'll get involved when we need to and help keep peace and keep a focus on getting a Ford in victory lane.
Go back to Jenna.
Hi, Jenna Fryer, Associated Press. I have a two-part question for Jim. With all due respect to your fellow competitors, General Motors is a fairly proven winning brand in motorsports. Did General Motors Cadillac find F1's statements about your ability insulting or anything like that? I'm wondering your feelings on that. And I just wanted to clarify, Mark can build an engine by 2026. You can build an engine by 2026, but can't because of the regulations?
Yeah. Yeah, just on the last part of your question, when you register to be a power unit manufacturer, there's a deadline to do that, and for us it was last June, 4/28. So if you could develop an engine sooner, you would have had to register the previous year for that. So it's simply a regulation. In terms of our application with Andretti, we feel great about our application. The FIA studied it amongst other applicants, and then gave our application a vote of confidence and approval. So obviously the FOM is made their statement. We've asked for a follow-up meeting with FOM, and so we'll work through that. We do believe between Andretti and Cadillac, we've got the capability of fielding competitive entry. We're not saying it's easy, but we do, between our two organizations, have examples in our history where we've been successful in other motorsports categories, and that's true of Cadillac and Andretti. With that said, our joint teams are continuing to develop our car at pace. So that's where we're at. Thanks. At pace, there we go.
Were you insulted at all? Did they just think you can do it?
As I said, we believe in the application we submitted. In that application, we articulated the capabilities of both Andretti as a race team and Cadillac as a manufacturer and an engineering team. And so we feel confident in the application and are asking for a meeting with FOM.
All right, we'll go to Jordan.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. Two questions, both of them for Mark. Mark, reports are that Stewart-Haas Racing's contract with Ford is up at the end of the year. Wondering if you can confirm that, and if so, are you in negotiations for an extension?
So we do not comment on timing or contract length for any of our partners, so I won't comment on that. And we're always in negotiation with our teams to have the right runway for us and for them.
Very good. And the second question related to Formula One. I know you're not going to get into the allegations, but is there concern that this could damage the Red Bull brand, and what you signed up for and signed into is not what it could become?
Yeah, well, I think generally our comment on any situation like that, it doesn't matter what series or even away from motorsports, is that as a family company and a company that holds itself to very high standards of behavior and integrity, we do expect the same from our partners. It appears to us, and what we've been told, is that Red Bull is taking this situation very seriously, and of course they're worried about their brand as well. And that's why they've got an independent investigation, and until we see what truth comes out of that, it's too early for us to comment on anything. Yep.
All right, any other questions from the media? Go to Adam in the back. We'll come back to Bob.
Adam Stern, Sports Business Journal. For Paul, obviously we're seeing hybrid sales explode with road cars. Is that impacting whether you want to see NASCAR move to a hybrid engine any quicker?
I think all of us work in conjunction with NASCAR to figure out what that future powertrain is going to be. There's a lot of options right now, and we're probably going to do a lot of testing with different powertrain platforms to just understand what's the best viable thing moving forward. I think we all want to have great competition. We understand that we need to provide some very strong competitive entertainment for the race fan, and we don't want to impact that at all. So you're going to probably see some experimentation by all of us with different things, just as we search for what that is. I think where we are currently, we're probably going to be in the similar situation, especially at Cup for the foreseeable future, but that we all develop, right? We're engineering and development companies, and we will not stop at that, and making those a race application is just part of that effort.
All right, we'll come back up to Bob and then Kelly.
Bob Harkers, Fox Sports for Mark. Front Row announced an extension to their deal and announced that they're now a Tier 1. Can you explain what more they get from you now?
Yeah, again, as we approach our teams and we ask them to work together at different levels, it's really at what level of cooperation and access to data and tools that they have. So that is a big shift for Front Row with our alliance with Penske, and in terms of how much they get directly from us.
Kelly Crandall, Racer.com. Jim, I have two for you. First off, is it possible, is Chevy going for 100 NASCAR National Series wins? That would be the next one?
Here, yeah. Here at Daytona.
Here at Daytona. Can you just speak on why that's such a significant number and what that would mean to the company?
Yeah, I mean, it's, across the 3 series, we're at 99. This is such a special venue to race at. And whether you win in truck, Xfinity, or Cup, it's a special moment. It's a great way to start the season. And to do that, one of the teams in one of those 3 series could get their first win of the season and bring our 100th. So it's a moment of celebration, and we do look for those key milestone victories as a way to rally and motivate our internal team as well as our partner teams.
And then I wanted to discuss at the start of the season, as Mark and Paul were asked about the new bodies that they're going through, you all, of course, have kept the Camaro. So part of that conversation has been wondering if Chevy might have an early advantage this season as Ford and Toyota kind of gel and get their cars where they need to be. Do you anticipate maybe that you all, the Chevy teams, can kind of jump out to an early advantage? Yeah. Well, do you think that that's even going to be a thing?
Well, we will see here this weekend. Hopefully this weekend, if not this weekend, soon. The one thing NASCAR's done in the rule set is they keep us in a pretty tight box to keep the competition tight. And basically in downforce and drag, they have parameters that you're required to stay within. And so our car is within that box, and as are the other 2 OEMs. So it's going to be tight. You can see it out there in the duels, how tight it's going to be. So the one thing that we do have is, because our body is the same as last year, it's just continuity and momentum in development and preparation and simulation versus the times where we've switched to a new body. You're spending a lot of time on that switchover. So that is a positive, but you can see how tight it is out there, and that's mainly because of the rule set inside of NASCAR and downforce and drag requirements.
All right, we'll go over to Al, and then we'll wrap things up with Jordan.
Thank you. Al Pierce from Auto Week. Jim, mostly for you. You won half the races. You won the Manufacturers Championship, but another brand won the Driver Championship. Does that make the season yay or nay for you guys?
It's a bit of both. You're excited about winning 18 of the 36 in the Cup Series, the Manufacturer Championship, and what that means and what that takes. And you are completely motivated when you leave Phoenix to prepare to come back and go for the Drivers' Championship. At the beginning of the season, Manufacturers and Drivers' Championships are the 2 goals we put forth every season in every series. And so we didn't get all the way there. It motivates us more at the end of that race in Phoenix, and also when you go to the banquet and you see who's getting celebrated, you're motivated. And so that's part of the the excitement of racing is to come back the next season and go for it, which is what we're doing.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. This question's for Paul. Paul, you add Legacy Motor Club this year, 2 more Toyotas on the track on a full-time basis, gives you guys 8 full-time teams this year. Is that a number you're comfortable with? Would you like to see grow, and are you looking to grow?
I think David Wilson has talked about it extensively, that we aren't looking to add car count to add car count. Obviously, there is a number that you want to be at from a super speedway perspective where, you know, volume helps, but we are really comfortable taking on the LMC, the Legacy Motor Club team, and working through that and then just see where we are. I think it's steps when we just need to kind of make sure we can handle and support them and provide them with the engineering effort and the engines and all of those that they need to perform at their highest level. And we'll continue to look at things in the future, but you know, we're very happy where we are right now.
All right, gentlemen, really appreciate the time this morning. Best of luck this weekend and the rest of the year.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.